Part 16. Sponic and Intelligence. In every other kind of where is sight spies on the other and has intelligence agents whose job is to find out what its site is going up against. In selling, we usually call that qualifying the customer, but qualify is a word that has a lot of different meaning. Ounce of them is like eligible, and let me tell you that as far as everybody is qualified to buy a car from me. And that's why I like to them think of this part of the selling job as hypogenic and intelligence. I want to know what the customer wants to do and what he ought to do and what he can afford to do. Sometimes all of those things turn out to be the same, but a lot of the time they are different. What the customer wants may not be something he able to happy with or can afford. I listen to what a customer says he wants and I try to give it to him, but I think I want to know work him or that he cannot afford, and if he can afford something better, then I make up own mind. But how do I know what they to sell the customer? I look and I listen and I ask. What I look and I listen for are the things that will open him up, get him telling so I that he will tell me about himself, his needs, and his ability to pray, but I don't always let him make those decisions. Very often, maybe it's a majority of causes I decide because the customer often does not really know what he can handle and what he should buy. Most people don't understand yet about life insurance to know what they need. So they need their salesman decide when it's come to clothes. People know they want something different, something fashionable, or latest, something that won't make them look pompous because it's out of style. So the salesperson works. It's a kind of negotiation based on what in the style, what's available, and what looks good on them. No clothing salesman in his right mind will sell a person something what will make him look well, but people can't discourage or how something looks. It's a something. So there is a wide margin in making those kinds of decisions by both customer and salesman. Car, it's not quite the same. You don't try very hard to sell a man to a sport car if he has a wife and 4 kids. It has a skirt out to them to car he is located. It's just a mass matter, but you know that if you are a manager, push him into a little job when he needs a big one. You have to create it on very unhappy fellow, and you don't wait to do this. No matter how sure he is that he wins that nitty little number. So you are playing a game with the customer, trying to find out what's the best for him no matter what he says, because what's the best for him is best for you. If you want him to speak well of your come and beg some day of another on, and don't forget that at this point you are dealing with a skirt him or man. Getting his name is critical. He walks in the front door and the first thing I say his name is Joe Jigger, and the very next thing I say it's an odd. What is your name? I don't want to scare him anymore. I don't want to him to start fooling back right away. So instead of asking, I say, and your name is, he won't stand and scared before finishing that silence and tells him name. Notice that I really don't ask him. I just don't give him any person to see me is somebody trying to dive into a insight. It was a natural and casual, and I got his name from the then on, and I used to because I would now have a personal relationship. There's a bear and a Joe, and it's a tries to call his minister. I let him know that's a Joe. I have broken a little eye. As I said before, it's a stirred on by the walking around of a car, the floor, or even crawling under it. So, do I don't say much because I want to know a lot, but I want him to give into me without my playing it out of him. I may ask him whence he got in the mind or what he driving now, but mostly I will just be passive and wait for him. He's going to tell something, and once he starts to talk, will say with him and move with him, but I will never crowd him at this stage of the game. I want to draw him out. I show himself. I will mentally intelligent where he went to let army resolve himself to mass to her. It's a somebody starts out by asking for my by name, which happens a lot of the time. Then I have good opinion. I ask him how he had about me. He may say he read about me somewhere, and they will follow up. They ask him where and whether trekking, or he gives me somebody names which I tell him no. Even I never heard of the guy. It's only heard about the my planet. What's planet? And I will to talking about where he works. However, he answers, I get the conversations to start moving, and maybe I listen something useful like when he knows that I know or where he works. It's a gate name I know that I can ask if he lives near the other fellow, and I know something about the neighborhood and can try to figure his income from that. We go from the planet to his job, and that leads to another estimate of his income. I try to like a machine that he does not notice is turned on, like maybe a regular or a computer, because there's nothing he is going to say about the neighborhood or some super of the blowing away for the factory that I can make him. I think I know something about. Whatever he says, I got and the answer. It's a half question and gets him going some more and keeps me from the getting into deep about something or some place I don't know very well. Well, I will going on about his blowing language the planet how his will team is doing. I will spring on him very casually that's let me how he's and where got an all for him. Notice that I don't ask, do you have a car or a trade in? I don't want to ask that question because it's a well stirred him thinking it's a wrong decision. Hey, I'll start to figure out that the figure says he will be going too far into the deal, or he may want to be lie and to say no. Because he's a figure that should get my base price and then spring the trade on to me get maybe or even better price on the trade in allowance. It does not work that way. Of course, you get as much as we can give you as much the broke says no matter when we figure in the value the trade in, but still lots of people figure they can play another game if they hold off. What I went to do is get involved without his awareness. Away it makes a little harder for him to start turning out bigger against me. I have to check him quick, otherwise you will for the dionysus you have mouse when he tries to say does not have the turn. And you can usually tell for his eyes and every telling the truth to trying to play games. I mean that's the honest people who have went to give old the car for their kids and who just reached driving age, but mostly they went to trade the old of the for now, so I can throw all the dragons by saying, "Give me the keys." Those days I don't usually I look the trade-ins because I have somebody working for me who does that. This is a way I use extra help to later and more important how most salesmen in this sort of business I cannot afford not use extra help, but for a long time I overlooked offer the trade ins the something still do. How to read a customer. An expert salesman can read a customer, his house, his car like a book. Most people don't notice what other people are wearing or where they live or what they drive. But if you pay attention to details like how stay or embrace are the thing like that, you can't learn a lot. I can walk around and I look inside a person or a car and tell you everything about its owner. There are obvious things like how many mails are on the register and the number is service station stickers and the door sum and their messages. Obviously, they tell me how much driving the man does in a year and how carefully he takes care on his car. Now, those things tell you directly about the value of the car. It's a gates served often. It tells he is a critical person. He has if has mileage is a well above average. I have got something to tell about with him. I can't ask if he travels or lot of or he's gone to some very high Belgian trips. When I lock the front of me and I have a compliment of the inner car looking for brilliances from the delegates and makes. That's a well tell makes mouse as to anything what kind of car is begin looking for how many different prices and he's been quanted found them. I got pretty clear idea of how low I have to go to get him. If his tries are really well, I know he's facing an outage of 150 USD or more for a new set. That puts him a long way down on the peer record a new career because a lot of people start figuring that they might as well go all the way to spend big hunk of sinless or nothing but is a set of tears. When I open the thing, a lot of his spine trees laughing at to scale the but I have something else to tell about fishmen and I tell about when to they fish and what they have caused. And if you see the teller almost at the end and that's a tell even more about him. It's a compare for a water. Now, if has a car and obvious junker, I have to be careful. This may not have your meals on it to get home. Which is great for me to know because it means he pretty much how to buy a car right away. But I can't tell him that a man's car is like his wife and he can't make a fun it's a went too. But as soon as somebody else tries to his insert, so it's very careful about what I say if the car is die. Mostly I tell him it's a look really good considering his malice or the egg. Another thing I keep an eye but found the weakness is the bumper stickers. Political stuff I say nothing about because politics is nothing something can think about with a customer without getting into trouble. It's a may on where running for a president I could not wear to go out a president button to work, but I went to tell about the other kids districts that reports for him to get you the get a national parks in the other tourist atmosphere and because whenever that guy has been have been ever I never heard of the place. I will find some way to use it to break some more ice. And if there is a body, a seat and the toys because corner sleeping bags and anything else. I have learned something about the man, his needs, his interests, and the way he is traced in the thing he owns. Zeroing in. When I get back to him, I will say, I'll keep the car good shape, and that's a gets up post quiet about how much I going to allow him to make him feel like it. Now, maybe I will ask, what did you have in mind? And when we start to go, he may say once another just like it. Maybe he companies that it's a realize too much, so I will suggest a two-door inside for door. They'll realize the little and less and better than that from the my standpoint they cost a little loss or so I can quite him a lower price and then maybe have got from someone else on a floor door. If you're selling house and a guy complains about all the loan mowing he had to do, you are not going to suggest a place with a huge of yard. If his complains about walking up in the stairs, one won't offer him those floor. Canonically, if you will, come up with on the floor this house and some things with the cars, you are going to put him into something that shares our family and he's a bird and is his prettible. But I sense that customer A cooking up I not keep driving too close. I will look back in the little maybe I will peek in the cornest I saw is his car and ask him how old his baby is. He will probably bring out of the pictures and his wallet and he will look and level price unless he asks me. I am not going to tell about my family and that's not my social station. That's a selling and I believe that on the dumbest things and salesman can do the compare with the customer he brings out picture of the kids and a lot of salesmen will bring out pictures of the kids. That's not a smarter thing you can do because you are trying to stop him when you are do that you are saying you think that's something look at mine does not care about your kids picture. He wants to show of his what good do you emphasize by completing? Not at all. Let him have the stage. Just sit there and look. I'll see fishing Tracheal in the car. I will ask him about what he's been fishing lately, and pretty soon I will tell me about the fish he caused that was that big. I hear some salesman come right with a break with this is nothing. I caused on the that is a big last Sunday. So what? So you have made him think that maybe that the biggest event that his life is not talking about. Maybe you caused of the 40th floor or the circ numbered those. But the little I said is not being cosnet and the local blowing away. That's because in the line the cost and matter one made him to think was his well to that short sense. You went to bring him over you said the biggest him, but it's a do wish the fishing statics and your turn against for your while of the hook. I already decide the importance of the demonstration right. You are giving him a place of the microhandles as a free, as simple, and you went to him your so that's a well I went it all. I want him to take a right, so that he went it all. I want him to take a right of that he feel he's not got something for nothing and owns me a little something. And I went to him in the car so that he can take it somewhere and his kids and his friends and his coworkers can see him eat. That makes it a little harder for him to go back to driving his junker. I went his that car because I went see where he goes and hear everything he wants to say about it, including what he does not like, if anything. But most of all, as I had said before, I went to him to get that smile way up into his senseless and into his brain because then I am getting him hooked on it. And that's when it's gets very hard to back to still smile his conquer and they on straight. When he has got that full consent and is still with me, he go into a office that door is closed and no phone calls are allowed in the included in the next steps. We are still telling and filling each other out. When I finished looking at the car, I may ask, is the paid or is not it? He says he's good and a couple of the payments live. I know that's a credit customer and what ability to arrange financing and get him monthly payments are right for him may be more important than total price. We may tell a lot about total price, but what he may care about is how much is month. Credit is the American way. That's the best fact. It's the most big tricky. It's most people, and there's nothing for a customer to be ashamed of. Everybody buys on installments, and that's the American way. If you went to tell you have to keep it all on the bank, gourmet wins your life for nothing. But since a lot of people is still a little that they give play crash on everything. So you have to handle it carefully. I emphasize the customer has been playing over a very long period, and he is handy any query of the car, even though it's almost all paid up. Something my ability to see the customer all depends from ability to get him your the credit and let him the pay for the car. If he's really stopped the house been trails in the listen to recent bankruptcy, I can still find ways to get him to money to buy a car. But if that's a case I know about it because that says the name of the deal, price and auto. Now he was telling about the finding a way to get credit the customer. Whatever we went to get a concern for a in some cases, even the food in the car a friend will into the way to get friend to cause a sign notice for a customer liar and using the device for plating the car the somebody else's name required great on. If we are going to restore that trying to have in the source that the telling the bank finance company is a advance that is what you are doing. Otherwise, you cannot be observing the law. That's have the no advance because they have to know where to find a car if you are have a given response. Credit is the that you want to know about as soon as possible. What do you have to sell the customer on the price on your ability to find him money, regardless of price. This is a no since the dissing around the prices credit rating is 0. But heavy scout is paid for a nearly paid for we have got no problems. And as soon as I have the found out that is okay, I start clipping away for his natural for fear again. I'll maybe park on the Yellowstone park sticker. He goes and he the window. I ask him about the trip up and listen. If he's asked the hand brain, I probably he says yes, but I am still going to let tell me, not the me tell him, because I went to let him tell about something he enjoyed, something percent, so he's a relax. I know when the customer is relaxing because I read his body language. I watch his face, his eyes, the way he holds his arms close to him, and his loses closes the tail until he stands little loses and little. While all of his is going on, I am finding out what he needs and what he can be sold. And there are enough the different model sizes, trim accessories so that I can figure out a car just about any price it tells to himself. Just so listen, as soon I all do from job. I can't trade him to up the immortal crow or down a clever event away from the employer, and he's been thinking about, of course, I did lie to make it easy to sell him exactly what he has in mind when he went, but may have not be able to afford on that. He was really able to afford something bigger and better. I can go either way. What I need to know is how much shopping he has already done and what prices have been quoted to him. I need to know that because I am probably going to get him to by making he think is getting that best possible price from me. I don't mean that he's went to tell will him and it's a help because I did rather make a little less per call or sell a lot of them. Then he goes and just sell a few. That's the philosophy is that system is made one greatest salesman. I think it's a more than in area the salesman does because if I want to sell more cars, not getting higher prices, do there have the risk takes and itself. And of course, you send a happy customer who tells you whatever is going and speak back even more business. If I know that he has wrestlers from other dealers, he has a car or I see them in his pocket. I know he's already his prices in mind, but even if I don't know that, I can find it out easily. By this time we are in my office, I have given him a dark for a figure. If his kids come in the with him, they have got balloons and the lips. I have played with the kids, even got my kids to tell them it's necessary. No problem, my office floor is clean, and besides, I can buy a few pairs of slacks with the commissions from just on sale. So it's a worth it. A lot of salesmen will get up their desk in the putty bank, put on top the away the figure they can't write down all the information about the customer and the car they are selling him. It's a nice system. The figure was not a dumb system because if you do not them to get the buy the close the end. It's a finish him off. Getting ready for the close. What I do is always keep a bank order from the end and credit application on my desk. Then as we talk and I got information about the customer and where he lives and that's what he does that went that goes right up the front. Then if I get him to write up the finish, I have get fleet in order and I need is a signature the other way. I have get transfer the all information from the page the forms. And I while either doing that a guy can remember his got the buy a color button before jewelry store closed and it runs and he lost him. I am not saying about shoot a like for the door and the take the dark noob for the keep the customer here. I don't play the it away. But when he will get on the point, the process I have spent an hour for more and on my own accessories them and that worth more money to me. It's a demand of wall out of the B customer if the comes first in emotions of where some years is a bad guy. Of course I could not meet the limited price and somebody else Swiss is unlucky or I did not have the car anywhere near for rented. Which is a principally impossible. The person is the perfect as a right to live without buying. Because is that happiness it means I having done my job professionally. If I lost a customer at that point, it means I have not done something wrong. Will the know if others can't sell them all? We all know that some people come in just because they have not nothing else to do. But if you assume that about anybody without going ever, will you mind to find out what did wrong? You will not be doing the proper job to training and reinventing yourself, you have ensured that the guilty about selling until proven incorrect your own self explanation. But the communist reason in the losing a customer who seemed really interested in not listening enough, not watching the face her body movements of the customer. If you don't spend your time to conclusion of that, you are not going to miss something that a buy of is telling without trying to tell you. And if something properly has to do with he is offered. Why he is stealing and what's not doing to get him over the list handles. Everybody hates silence and most of people want to jump out of silence. Let your customer do that. Let him tell because he cannot stand the silence. Let him offer you the class to his restaurant and residence. You can learn a lot more by watching and listening them. You can't buy talking. But there are more moments of when salesman can gain by talking. The guy is unnecessary is a stoosing, smiling, falsely, tripping his toes and doing those things that people do when they uncomfortable and effort. You can watch and you notice and you figure it really has to bark up him. But you don't know his is you have to find the what needs and what is the effort about if it is not moving the toward the clouds. It's a quiet and nothing is happening. Expect is unelse. So you ask a question that is something a pretty good way to get an answer. But you don't ask him a question that he can answer yes or especially no. You don't ask is there anything else you want to know because see him get up so and you have brown it. Ask something he is to answer with the real words what I have lived out, what I did tell that we need to know make your mind, or even something as direct as what I did do wrong. Then I can make a customer feel that should help you and you can start getting hold of him then. When I talk about nailing down a customer, it is a point. It does not mean closing him. The really to sharp the line between qualifying and closing. And of course, we tell him about the expressing thing, but if we're the heading the selling station probably there's a smooth flow from the step on the next. You know what the intelligence test is over because if you know that what the customer really wants and needs a can afford to buy, if you know all that and you that know it, you are the next step. Let the customer reveal himself while there was to listen and will himself open for the close. Thanks for listening.